They won't need it for this class.
They might not need it for this one.
Yeah, they be the ones who are questions.
They might not need it this time, shit. Sam, you crazy. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ما بعد. So tonight, inshallah, the next section is the section of the Walimah. And this is short, so tonight's class won't be too long, inshallah. It should be short. And then the next section is a little longer. And we almost finished the chapter. We got after this, after the Walimah, we have the section of Ma'ashara, living together. The spouses living together, and not really the rights. It includes the rights of the spouses on each other, but it's really about living together. The husband and the wife living together and how they should treat each other. That chapter is pretty long. And then the last section after that is the Bab al-Khula', the Kula, or the Kula, however we say it. It's really a Khula', but that's the last section of the Kitab al-Nikah. So we got about, maybe, with this class, maybe about 4 more classes for the chapter Nikah, inshallah. Tayyib. So I meant to print the papers out. Tayyib. It's cool. This is short. And this. طيب قال رحمه الله فصل وتسن الوليمة للعرس ولو بشاة فأقل. The first thing is out of the 5 rulings. It says the hukum on a walima. The walima is what? Sunnah. Tayyib, which is what does that mean now?
There's a reward connected if you do it. But if you leave it off, it's not punishable.
Jade. It's a reward connected if you do it. But if you don't do it, it's not a sin and it's not punishable. Shukran. No, this is cool. This is cool. That wasn't it, but alhamdulillah. It's a reward if you do it, and there's no sin if you don't do it. But firstly, what is the walima? What do we know a walima to be?
Celebration after marriage.
Jade, say it again.
Celebration after marriage.
The reception, Jade. Reception. That's a good one. I like that. I mean, most people know that because this is a lot of non-Muslim. Non-Muslim might say, well, do y'all have a reception? Do we have a reception? I don't know I don't know what it's included in the reception though, but it's food, right? It's definitely food. The Muslims have a walima, right? The Muslim has a walima, the celebration after the marriage, the dinner after the marriage, right? The reception. I mean, I think that's a general. I think everybody gonna understand that. I just don't know. You know, certain things we don't do. That's all. But it's the food, the celebration, the dinner after the marriage is complete. Once the marriage is complete, a person has a walima, which could be the same day, or it might not be the same day. Person might get married on a Friday, they might have a walima a week later or 2 weeks later, right? طيب. The hukm on the walima is a sunnah. Another word for sunnah is what? Recommended. Recommended. It's recommended to do. If it's recommended to do, that means not to say that you shouldn't do it. But if a person never had a walima for their marriage, what does that do to their marriage contract? A man and a woman get married and they never had a walima. What does that, huh? The marriage contract is fine. It's not going to affect that they're not married anymore because they never had a walima, right? Even with that, it's still sunnah recommended to do a walima. Walau bi shatin fa'aqal. Even if it's something small. Even if the food at the walima is not a lot of food, right? So we between two things. Even if it's small, even if it's a little bit of food, right? Means that it's no problem if it's what? Huh? It could be a lot of food, right? It could be a lot of food. People celebrate. It's a celebration. Somebody might go all in and have a big joint, right? Is it permissible to decorate at a walima? Put balloons up? Huh? Is it permissible? You go to a walima, they decorated the place. It looks nice, mashallah. Huh? What would make it impermissible? What's the manner? What Islamically? What do we have from Islam to say we're not allowed to decorate at a celebration? In order to say something we can't do, we say, okay, we need something to say you can't do that, right? So you go to a walima, it's nice. They got decorations hanging up. It's a lot of food. Permissible or not? What will make it haram? A text would make haram, but something specific. What was something specific going on there that the Muslims not supposed to be doing, right? Music, the thing, alcohol, right? If there's stuff going on there that the Muslims not supposed to be doing, that's one thing. We're talking about just general. It can be a little bit of food or it can be a lot of food. It could be a small crowd for a walima or it could be a large crowd. It's not like you have to have a large walima and it's not like you have to have a small one. Some people just have a couple people over at the house and that's the walima. Yeah, everybody's not invited. Everybody's not invited to some, and then some people have bigger ones where, right? Either way, as long as we're not wasting food, right? As long as we're not getting into wasting, we're not trying to outdo nobody on their walima and show off and stuff like that, then there's room. The point is, it's room. Even if it's a little bit of food, there's room. طيب. So the walima is sunnah. He says, وَتَجِبُ إِجَابَةُ إِلَيْهَا بِشَرْطِهِ. He said, now, somebody invites you to a walima, right? Somebody invites you to a walima. Do you have to go?
If it's like the first-hand invitation, right? Or like a direct.
If it's a direct invitation, what you mean by that?
Like if I invite you personally, right, come to my walima, but if
Right.
they tell you like, hey, you know, saying walima, Saturday.
Sahih. Jayid. If somebody directly comes to you, they invite you directly, right? That's one thing. There's two ways a person can invite people to a walima. Somebody can invite you directly, or somebody might just put up a general announcement. Somebody makes an announcement, general, I'm having a walima on such and such day, everybody's welcome. That's one thing. But if somebody sends you a direct message, they want you to come specifically, then tajibu ijabatu ilayha bi shartihi. It's obligatory to attend the walima if you invite it like that, with the condition that it's nothing haram going on at the walima. Clear? Person might say, well, how am I supposed to know that? You might not know. You might not know when the person invites you, right? Or you might know. They might tell you. And this is the thing. If somebody has going to have a walima, because it works for both sides. If somebody invites a person to a walima, for a person who invites somebody to a walima, and they're going to be doing things that Muslims are not supposed to be doing, right? Sometimes they tell you. They want to give you a heads up because they know you're not on that type time, right? So they might give you a heads up like, listen, man, I'm having one link, but it's da-da-da-da. Right? Whoever does that needs to understand that the person you're talking to has the right to decline and say, no, I'm not coming around that. It's not impersonal, but the Muslim is not supposed to go and help another Muslim be disobedient to Allah. We're not supposed to go help other people disobey Allah and celebrate in the disobedience of Allah. That's not, we're not supposed to do that. So a person has the right to decline if they know it's going to be something going on, haram at the walima that the Muslims, we're not supposed to be doing. There's a different case if you get there, and then something going on. That's a different situation that can be handled differently. We're talking about initially somebody invites you to a walima. They say it's obligatory to attend the walima to answer the invitation with the condition that it's nothing haram that's going to be going on there, right? You don't know. You don't know anything haram going on there. It's obligatory for the walima to accept the invite. Clear? طيب. He says, وَتُسَنُّ لِكُلِّ دَعْوَةٍ مُبَاحَةٍ. Outside of the walima. He said, tusannu is sunnah. It's recommended also to accept every permissible invite. Invite to something that's permissible. Okay? Remember, the obligation is connected to what? The walima. The obligation is not connected to, for example, a dinner. Somebody graduated and they're having a dinner for their child. They want you to come still. Right? The obligation is not connected. We're not saying you shouldn't go. It says recommended to go. But the obligation, what does it mean if it's obligatory? If they say tajibu, it's obligatory to accept the invite to the walima. What does it mean if it's obligatory? You have, as a Muslim, you must do it. Tayyib. You suppose, you must or suppose. All right. Yeah, you must do it. But what does that equal to Islamically? Something is obligatory. What does that equal? It's mandatory. Jade. So that's good. Something that Allah, the Prophet ﷺ commanded us to do without a choice. You got to do it. Huh? That's the first part. It might be. I don't know, Sheikh. Is it? All right, the salat is obligatory. The 5 daily prayers are obligatory, right? So if you don't do them, what? It's a sin. And it's punishable. Allah can punish you for not fulfilling the obligation. Clear? That's what it equals to Islamically. We say obligatory, then we translate and say mandatory, incumbent. You must do it. We should do it. All of those are different translations. But what does it equal? Number one, if it's obligatory, right? That means there's no room. There's no option not to do it. Right? And if you don't do it, it's a sin. And Allah could punish you for it. Right? It says it's obligatory with the condition. As long as you don't know of anything haram that's going to be going on there, it's obligatory to go for the walima. Outside of the walima, that's not the same rule. Outside of the walima, it says you sent to send. It's recommended to accept the invite to everything, to any da'wah, to any invite. That's a permissible thing to do. Clear? So the walima has a ruling, and other celebrations or events or gatherings have another ruling. طيب. He says, وَتُقْرَهُ لِمَنْ فِي مَالِهِ حَرَامٌ كَأَكْلٍ مِّنْهُ وَمُعَامَلَتِهِ وَقُبُولِ هَدِيَتِهِ وَهِبَتِهِ. طيب. If a person who invites you to the walima is having a walima based on money that is haram. The money that bought the food is haram. طيب. Huh? The food is bought with haram money. The food at the walima is bought with haram money. في ماله haram. طيب. We got 5 choices. Out of the 5 choices, is it obligatory to go? Is it recommended to go? Is it haram to go? Is it disliked to go? Or is it open? It's mubah. You can go if you want. You don't have to go if you don't want. Mubah. It's open.
You know that's bought by the haram money?
I didn't say that. Did I say that? I didn't say that. I didn't say that. He said that. I said the food is bought with haram money. Right? Is it permissible to go to that walima or not? When we say it's not permissible, what does that mean out of the 5? We put a hook, we attach it to a ruling. What's the ruling on it? Haram. Tayyib. He says, tukrahu. He says, disliked liman fi malihi. Right? It's disliked to accept the invite of a person who has fi malihi haram. He says, dislike to respond to the invite if the person has some haram money. It says, ka'aklin minhu. Just like it's also disliked to eat from the food. So we got 2 situations. A person makes money from the haram. They have a walima and they invite you. Right? Because we're going to get to the next part. Because he mentions here, he says after that, just like it's disliked to eat from the food when you get there. Clear? He says, and also just doing business with the person. Doing business with them. Also, all this is what? Dislike. Also accepting gifts from them. The person who makes their money from the haram, or they have some money from the haram. Clear? All of that, why? Not to aid the person in the haram that they're doing. That you don't help. We're not supposed to help each other in sin and disobedience to Allah. And if that's what they're doing, right? And it's different, y'all. It's different, of course. If I don't know the person make their money from the haram, I don't know none of that. That's one thing. I go with a clear mind. I don't know none of that. If I do know that the person's money is from selling drugs, right? Then they say, what's the ruling on going? They say it's disliked. It's disliked to go. Some have said haram, not allowed to go. But the author here says it's disliked to go when a person makes their money from Islamically illegal activity. Tayyib. And also even goes as far as accepting gifts from them. Tayyib. Now, you get to the walima. What do people go to the walima for? To eat. Sah. Tayyib. He says, so what's the hukum on eating when you get there? Nah, forget it. We done with the haram part. We go to walima, brother, good brother, good sister, alhamdulillah, walima is good. They invite you to the walima directly, send you a text message, say, I want you to come to walima this day, boom. You show up. What's the hukum on eating once you get there? Because you know how we do. We do what? We just want to do what? Sometimes we go places, why? Huh? I'm not. Yeah, all that. Hold on, let me reword the question. I'm not hungry, right? I really don't want to go, for real, right? I don't really feel like going. This is whatever the case may be. But I'm going to go just to do what? Show my face. Right? So you say I'm going to go show my face. So now you get there. So the question is, when you get to a walima, do you have to eat? Huh? No. What if you're not hungry? That's a good question. Let me ask you this. What's the hukum? What's the ruling from the 5 on eating when you get to a walima? A walima that's no problems, all that. Huh? Recommended? Sunnah? Anybody else? Sunnah? Tayyib. Huh? Sunnah? Tayyib. It says sunnah. Yusannu al-aklu. It's recommended to eat. Right? Tayyib. If it's recommended to eat, that means if I get there, I don't have to eat. I don't have to eat. It's not like if I don't eat, it's haram. It's not like if I don't eat, I'm committing a sin, right? But if you don't eat, and a person invites you somewhere to eat and you don't eat, that could do what? Cause an issue. Why? What's the issue? I cooked all this food. I invited you here to enjoy food. You come in here and you don't eat, right? You might say, "Well, it's only sunnah to eat out here. We're not getting you shouldn't get into all of that." The walima. Well, you know it's only recommended to eat. No. Huh? Gee, I might have allergic reaction. Well, that's something you need to communicate with the person so that they don't feel, so that they don't feel no type way. The point of me inviting you to walima is eat. I got all this food I want to slaughter. Come down. We going in. You can't come in here and say, "Nah, I'm gonna chill today." No, not today. Not today is the day is the walima. I don't need you to chill today. I need you to eat today. So it's recommended to eat. If it's recommended to eat, you get to the walima, right? When do you start eating? Huh? Mathalan. How do you know it's time to eat? When is it allowed for us to start eating from the food? Huh? When they announce it? طيب. He says إباحته تتوقف على الصريح الإذن. The food is permissible once you're given clear permission to eat from it. Meaning you can't just show up and nobody's eating yet, and just because you're hungry and you ain't eat all day, you're gonna go and start taking from the food. Right? Clear? Either one, they gave clear permission to eat. That's number one. Or two, he says, "Oh, qarinatin mutlaqa," or there's a qarina, there's a sign or a hint that everybody can go ahead and take from the food. So what do? We have to look at our people, like what we do. How do we let people know it's time to eat other than saying, we already know the first one, come on, everybody come grab a plate. Or we tell people to go ahead, get busy, or whatever we say, go in. If we don't do that, how do we know it's okay to go eat from some food? If it's other people eating, that's an assumption, right? Is that you? I mean, maybe. If it's other people there for the walim and they eating, it must be time to eat. Tayyib, what else? What else goes on for us specifically? Because this is general. And it's left general like that because you might go to another city or another country and they don't do what we do. They got other things that let them know everybody can go in and eat, right? What else lets you know that we might do here that lets us know it's time to eat? You can go ahead and eat. That the person serving the food, they don't mind you eating at this point. Other than the announcement. We already got the announcement.
They brought the food out.
They brought the food out?
Yeah, like maybe food's in the kitchen or something. Kitchen. The tables was out here. They brought it out here like that.
And put it in front of you? They come out and put the food in front of everybody. All right? Now, this is based on how we understand stuff, y'all. If they come out and put the food in front of us, we assume what? It's time to eat. That's us. You might go to another country, another city, they don't do that. They might come out and put the food in front of you, but to them, it doesn't mean eat. You understand? So this qarina is based on the order for the people, the custom of the people, which could vary from city to city, country to country, state to state. But whatever it is, once that sign is given that you can eat, and that's a sign that everybody understands it's time to eat, it's allowed to eat. Those are the two cases. Either A, they say clearly, everybody go ahead, it's time to eat, grab a plate, help yourself, whatever the wording is, or they give a sign that we all understand that means it's permissible to eat. Tayyib, you show up to the walima and you're making up days from Ramadan. You had a couple of days to make up from Ramadan. They invite you, you fasting, you forgot the day was a walima, they invited you directly, you say, dang, I gotta go. Tayyib. You get to the walima and the person that invited you expect you to do what? Eat. right? This obligatory fast you're doing, right? It's an obligatory fast. So you got an obligatory fast, right? And you have, what's the hukum? What's the ruling on eating at a walima? Sunnah. You got an obligatory fast and you got sunnah to eat at a walima. Which one comes first? Which one takes precedence? Huh? Fasting. The obligation. The obligation is heavier than the recommendation. Why? Because you fast in the day of Ramadan, which is an obligatory day. Right? You eating at a walima is recommended. Clear? So now the case is, he says, وَالصَّائِمْ فَرْضًا يَدْعُو. If the person is fasting, the obligatory day of fasting, they show up, they still go, because attending is one thing. Remember, the personal invite, as we say, that's obligatory. Assuming there's nothing going on haram, the personal invite is obligatory. Now you get there, eating is recommended, but I'm doing an obligatory fast. So now I'm not going to break my obligatory fast to do something that's recommended. So say, what they say? It says you do what? Yad'u. You make dua for the host. Whoever invited you, you still go. As we say, you still show your face, but you make dua for the host. Clear? Clear? That's a qaida that's going to come back. That the obligation is more important than what's recommended. What's obligatory is more important than what's recommended. Clear? What is obligatory is more important than what is recommended. Okay, you should keep that. That's assuming that the day you fasting is an obligatory day of fasting. Right? Say you get there and you fasting a voluntary fast. You get there and you fasting a voluntary fast, right? They invited you directly, so it's obligatory to respond. If you respond, they happen to invite you on a Monday or a Thursday, right? You fasting Monday or Thursday, one of the whatever day you fasting Sunnah, and you get there. Now, you got a recommended day of fasting, and it's recommended to eat. All right? Which one you going to do? Continue your fast?
You done went the whole day already.
He might have had an early Walimah. It's only 2:00. This is Walimah after Dhuhr. He said you already went the whole day. You might as well finish fasting. Nah, if that's the case, maybe. But the Walimah's at 2:00. Take a plate home. You out of line, man. I'm going to take a plate to go. Tayyib. When Neflan, it says, if it's recommended, yusannu akluhu ma'a habri khatir. It's recommended to eat if that's going to make the guest feel good. I mean, not the guest, that the host. The host might not mind. You show up, they just happy to see you, right? You show up, you fasting, you let them know you're fat. They might not mind. They might say exactly what you said. Well, just take a plate. I'm going to make you a plate. You can take the plate with you. You stand? Yeah, I'm going to stay, but, what's cool? I'm going to make a plate. The host might not mind, but the host might feel really, they invited, they might really feel some type of way you're not eating. So in that case, it says recommended to go ahead and eat. You send recommended to eat, which means you don't have to what? You don't have to eat. You don't have to break the fast, but they say you should to keep for the host's sake, to keep the host calm and to remove any, what do you call that? Any problems that might occur from that. Tayyib. Clear? Tayyib, this is the last line. This is the last line of the chapter. It says, when you send i'lanu nikah, is recommended to announce the marriage, to announce it. He mentions two things here. Number one, yusannu is recommended to announce the marriage, and there's different ways to do that. I think we did that already, didn't we? We did that? Did they say sunnah? Okay, I forgot. Manhaj al-Salikin? Yeah. Sunnah. Some say it's obligatory to announce it. The author says here, was sunnah. Sunnah is recommended to announce the marriage, right? Which means, y'all, if the person didn't announce the marriage, does the marriage still count? Yes. Why? Because some people say, well, they never told nobody we got married. Some people think that. Well, wait a minute. Were there witnesses there? Yes, there were witnesses there. Well, if there were witnesses there, some of the ulama consider that is the announcement. The fact that you had the witnesses there. The announcement doesn't necessarily mean it has to be like 100 people. A mass text message that go out, you have to post it on the internet. It doesn't mean you have to necessarily. You can, but it's not like if you don't do that, you didn't announce the marriage. So he says it's recommended to announce the marriage. Number one, وَضَرْبٌ بِدَفٍ مُبَاحٍ فِيهِ, and beating the duf. The duf. We did the duf, didn't we? What's the duf? We're gonna start using it now. He says here, the duf mubahin fihi. It has to be the proper type of duf because there's sometimes they connect extra things to the drum, extra instruments, we could say, right? Extra instruments sometimes it can be connected to the duf, but it should be the duf by itself. Yes.
In the case that the sister is not there for the marriage, like it's happening over the phone, but both parties agree that the marriage is going to happen, what witnesses would you need then?
In the case, again, say that again.
So I'm by myself. My wali understands that me and the brother are going to get married. Do I have to be there for that?
Not necessarily, because the reality of the contract is the wali is offering and the man is accepting.
Right. So with that being said, what witnesses would you need?
As long as it's two witnesses, two male witnesses, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So it's not witnesses on my end.
What do you mean your end?
I don't have to have two sisters
No.
somewhere. Okay.
No. Not necessarily. No. The fact that the woman is not present, if she's present or if she isn't present, that's not going to affect the actual offer from the wali and the acceptance from the man. Yes.
So is the witness upon the husband or the wife?
So do what?
Do you have to have from what side do you have to have witnesses? On the husband's side or the wife's side?
Allahu A'lam, if it's specifically witness has to be from somebody's side. I don't know anything that says the witness has to be from either one of the spouse's side. But what they have to do is be the witness. It's general. It's left general. I never heard it specified that the woman has to bring two witnesses or the husband has to bring two witnesses. But for the contract to be complete, you need two witnesses. Now, the two witnesses might come from the wali. He might have two witnesses with him, right? I don't know anything specifying that the witness has to come from one side or the other. طيب. So he said the second thing is recommended, and he doesn't mention it in this text, but that's the benefit of other books that are on a higher level about beating the duf. Some of the ulama restricted it to women, not for men. It's not recommended for men. Even though he didn't mention it here. He just says with darabun bi dufin wa fi khitan. Also, and these are what we call what are these? Maybe celebrations or events, or what do you call them? Just generally. Dinner. I forgot what they call it. Munasabat. Occasions. Like different occasions and stuff like that, right? Different occasions where it might be celebrations. He only mentions two here, and he says وَنَحْوِهِ, right? One occasion he's mentioning here for the duf, beating of the drum, is the marriage, right? That's one thing. And the second one, he says وَفِي khitan. Khitan is when a baby is circumcised, right? And then it says وَنَحْوِهِ, and other things that might be taken as a celebration. And one thing they mentioned in the longer the longer texts are, for example, somebody returns from traveling, right? They went on a trip, they returned, they was traveling, they might have been gone. They might have a dinner for them when they come back, right? And at the dinner, they're beating the duf. They're beating the drum at the dinner. Clear? I won't handle it. I mean, it would have been nice because you might go somewhere, they might be beating the duf, y'all. It's not, we go straight to bid'ah. You can't be in there. Anybody ever heard of duf when they bang it? You heard it before? You heard? Yeah, it can be kind of. What's that? It got a nice. Sometimes you get the right person. It's a nice rhythm. It's pretty. So you might go in there and they might be going in on the duff. You like, yo, can you do that? The thing is, it permissible to do that? If it's the duff, that's one thing. If it's something outside, then we talking about a different story. So when you go somewhere, you got to know before you can put a hukum on something and say if it's haram, it's bid'ah, it's halal. You got to know what it is. Number one. So you go somewhere, they might be banging the duff based on what? You say, why are they banging the duff? Well, such and such was traveling. He just came back, right? Such and such just got married. And the different occasions that's mentioned for the banging of the duff, the drum. That's the end of that chapter. We're going to stop there tonight, inshallah ta'ala, unless there's any questions. Because the next section is a little long.
Question.
Yes.
If a Muslim man marries a non-Muslim woman, going back, a few chapters where you were talking about the wali, does the Muslim woman have to have a wali, and does the Muslim man still have to give the dowry and the offer to a non-Muslim woman?
The Muslim man marries a non-Muslim woman. Does the Muslim man have to do what?
Still make the offer to the wali. Like, does the Muslim woman, the non-Muslim woman, does she need a wali?
Huh?
Like the man,
Yeah.
does he have to give the non-Muslim woman the same rights, or not so much rights, but the same context as marrying a Muslim woman?
The procedure.
The procedures, right? As
procedure
far
is
as
the
the
same.
dowry.
The procedure is the same. I don't know of anything that invalidates the procedure for a non-Muslim woman. I don't know anything that invalidates the procedure the normal procedure that we go by. I don't know anything Islamically that invalidates that procedure because the woman is not Muslim. Okay? Even if both the man and the woman weren't Muslim. Okay? If the man and the woman weren't Muslim and they came to Muslims they wanted the Muslims to marry them, then they would have to follow our procedures, the procedures of the Muslims, even if they're not Muslim. If they come to us and they want a Muslim to marry them, right?
To piggyback off that question, is it obligatory for the man to explain that to her since she's not Muslim?
To explain what the procedure?
Yes.
He should. I mean, he definitely should. I don't know how she's going to be. I mean, I think that's going to be a possible issue. A Muslim man marrying a non-Muslim woman and she doesn't know the procedure of the Islamic marriage. It makes sense for him to do that. Or if not, he's probably going to have some issues a little like sooner than later. It makes sense. Obligatory. Allahu A'lam if it's obligatory, but it definitely makes sense to do that. He should. She doesn't know the procedure. A lot of the Muslims don't know the procedure, right? Let alone a non-Muslim. And the fact that she trusts the man enough to marry a Muslim man, and we're going to go and do it the way y'all do it, you should explain to her. That could possibly be a reason from something to guide her to Islam, to soften her heart, to become a Muslim. Allahu A'lam. Any other questions? Yes. هذا السؤال هذا ما أدري. Is it ما أدري.
هنا لسه في عادي.
سؤال قديم صحيح صح. الحمد لله.
أنا أظن هي تعرف هدف الواقع.
لا بأس. الحمد لله. الحمد لله. That's it. Next week, inshallah, is the chapter about living together. That's a bad translation, but that chapter is about, I'm sorry, more or less treatment of the spouses. How you supposed to treat each other. I think that's closer to the yes. Now, I ain't want to say something before we close. Tomorrow, inshallah. Tomorrow is the first day of the clinic. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock. So is it an open house? It's an open house from 10 to 1 for the free clinic tomorrow here. They already have a couple people made, about 7 people already made their reservations. So if people want to come for the open house, 4075 Lancaster Avenue. It's on the back side though. The clinic entrance is on the back. That's Olive. What's that street right there? That's Olive Street. In the back of IMFC, not the front entrance. The back entrance of IMFC is where the clinic entrance is. The clinic entrance is in the back. The ad right next to the Family Dollar. If anybody comes down. طيب. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.